Well, hello guys. It's been a little while. We're going to be doing an ultra super easy bread recipe, okay? Bread's getting so crazy. It's getting insane, and it doesn't take anything to really do it. I mean, everybody has some form of sugar. Everybody's got some form of salt. You need water. A rule of thumb, just a quick rule of thumb, if you don't know if there's chlorine in your water, assume it is. So just get a bottle of water so you know you're not going to... Chlorine kills these guys, so you don't want to turn around and screw that up. So flour, salt, a little yeast and something to feed it with, and water. That's it. These are the amazing breads. This is that crazy, insane secret that nobody... It's easy, guys. If you're not making bread after this, you're silly. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to heat this water up, okay? I've got about a cup and a half. You may need a little more. I don't know, but we'll find out when we get everything mixed up. But right now we're going to bring this to about 120 degrees. If you have a thermometer, great. If not, you'll be able to go to your sink, fill the hot water. All right, and when you fill that hot water, that's about how hot you want it, okay? So this isn't a tough process. You can throw this in the microwave. Just make sure, the most important thing, use a bottled water if you don't know whether your water's chlorinated or not. Just assume it is. Okay, now while those were your ingredients, okay, this is what's important right here. You're gonna need a Dutch oven. It doesn't have to be like this one. It can be pretty much anything that can even act as a Dutch oven. Just make sure it doesn't have a lid with a plastic top or a plastic handle, or that it has to be able to go in the oven. A Dutch oven is great because it's cast iron, and we're going to be taking it and setting it in there in parchment paper and nicking the loaf, and it's going to come out looking like one of those artisan loaves that you're like, I'm going to pay $8. Not a chance. You're going to be making artisan loaves with no effort whatsoever at all. It's going to be fantastic. But any type of a Dutch oven that can go in the stove. Okay, folks, here's what we're looking to do. We just microwaved it, and now we're going to see where we fall here. We're hoping to be around 120. I don't know if I can get that right where you guys are able to see it or not. I think you can see that. There's 111, 112. We're going up pretty good. I'd say we're going to hit the 120-ish mark. We're at 116. I'm happy with that. That isn't bad at all. It'll keep going up, but it's going to go up slowly. So what are we going to do now? Alright, here's what we're going to do. Let me bring you guys a little lower here. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to be using a tablespoon of yeast, and we're going to be using a teaspoon of the sugar. So, you can use white sugar. This is coconut sugar. You can use raw sugar. You can use anything that's a natural sugar that the yeast are going to eat. Alright. We're going to stir that up. Make sure we get it all dispersed real good in that warm water. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of the yeast. And you're going to get a chance to see the yeast react. Now we're going to sprinkle it all on the top. And we're going to give her a stir. Make sure they all get in the party. Now what we're looking for is for them to start just jumping right up and multiplying. And then we will get ready for the next step. I think you guys can see that, right? Yeah, you can see that. They're bumping up there. They just start exploding after a few moments. But we got a real good start right there. All right, I got mine going right over here, as you can see, and it's doing very, very well. But I thought you might like to watch the process actually happen. So I have the yeast, and I have the water. It's at 125, and I'm just going to let that sit for a moment, and it's going to start sinking to the bottom. All right, you'll start seeing that little bit of where they're falling. And then what'll happen is they'll just explode all of a sudden. You'll start watching everything float back up to the top, and then it'll just take off. They're all falling down right now. I'll show you there. You're seeing them all fall. See that? You're watching them all fall to the bottom. And then they're going to just start taking off and heading back up and multiplying. It's always kind of crazy to watch that happen. We're going to give it our little stir now. I like to pull them off to the side so you can get a better look at it. They'll start just exploding back to the top, and you'll just watch it start going. There they go. Starting to see them now. You'll watch them, they'll start popping up. Boom, there was a big one. And they're just going to open right up and just start multiplying. There's one. And they'll just start all over. Look at boom, boom, boom. You're watching it. They just start to explode. Look at that. And you'll watch the whole thing. The whole top will just start becoming a frothing, a cauldron of live active yeast. I don't know if anybody's ever showed you that or how it looks. You know, guys always want to know, what's it supposed to look like? Well, this is what it's supposed to look like. Just like this. You'll watch it all. The whole top will just, once it all sinks down, it all just comes right back and it just explodes into a whole frothy cauldron of, I guess you might say, yeast farts. That's what's going to rise our bread. A bunch of yeast farts. So now you've seen it happen. You've seen how it works. What you should be actually looking for. This is called testing your yeast. You can do it off to the side. If you have some older yeast, you're not sure if it's good or not, you can do this to it. Bring it up between 120 and 130. If you have a thermometer, great. And put a teaspoon of sugar in there, whatever sugar you've got. Put a tablespoon of the yeast in there. You just let it fall down and slide it off to the side and just look and see if you start seeing it do this. If it starts doing this, that yeast is good to go. All right, we got a teaspoon of salt. I use the pink Himalayan, buy it in bulk. And you don't have to use salt. Whatever you want, guys, salt. I mean, I wouldn't use the iodized salt, but anything salt. I guess if you have to, you have to. Alright, so then we've got our 3 cups of flour. Okay, I've sifted this so it's going to look more like, you know, like 3.5, but it's been sifted. Okay, I know a whole bunch of guys are going, what? Sift? What is that? That's just taking the flour. If you have nothing else to use, you can use one of these. Just taking that flour and you put it in here and you just tap it until you make sure there's no chunks, no nothing. All the grains are broken up so you can get a good mix and you won't have any clumps of flour in your bread there, all right? So we got our tablespoon of salt. We got our 3 cups of flour. And now we're going to add our 1.5 cups of our water yeast mix. And then we're going to just simply stir it up. This is going to be a sticky dough, okay? The nice thing is, if it's too sticky, you add a little more flour. If it's too dry, you add a little more water. You start out with that 1.5 cups, all right? And like mine right now, looks like it's going to be a little dry. So we're going to add a little bit more water to it. And we're going to just make sure we get it all worked off the sides. So far all we've done is we warmed up some water, dumped some yeast in it, dumped some sugar in that, let it sit for a few minutes and activate. Got our 3 cups of flour in here. And the best part is, guys, this is a no-knead bread. We're pretty good, but I'm going to add just another splash in there. So there'll be no kneading on this. You don't have to make a giant mess on your counter. The missus isn't going to catch up with you and raise holy snookers on you for making a giant mess and what your problem is. And you guys can actually pull off a bread for, like, you know, on a Mother's Day or a birthday or an anniversary, and I'll tell you what, it's quite a feat. Now that looks pretty good right there, okay? So make sure you get all your edges done, okay? They're all wiped down, okay? And the next thing you got to get is, very simply, a clean towel. A nice clean one of the small little hand towels, a clean one. Alright guys, clean hand towel. That's all we're doing. Alright, got a little flour on it. Clean hand towel, and we're going to leave it sit for 3 hours. So your work is done now. Basically, your work is done. We will, as soon as the 3 hours is up, we're going to fold it over a couple times, turn on the oven, put our cast iron in there, let it heat, and then we'll wait 30 minutes while that gets done, and then we'll stick it in there and it'll be ready to go. But the effort right now is pretty much done. Alright, 3 hours. Let's take a look. She was small before. Oh yeah, she's more than doubled in size. Very good, very good. So this needs to go in to a 400-degree oven. It's cold to the touch. It needs to preheat in the 400-degree oven. So let's do that now. Degrees. Okay guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to, oh look at that, she's nice. We're going to just do a little touch of flour on here, and then we're going to fold this in. We're not going to knead it, there's no kneading here, we're going to literally fold it in and just make sure that we do a little bit of working here so that we're able to move the dough without it sticking all to us. Yeah, she's looking good. That's looking real good, actually. And now what we're going to do, alright, we will get another piece, set her right in the middle of that piece. Pick it up, set it right there, and wait for the Dutch oven to be preheated. That's literally what I got for dishes, guys. I got my my two Pyrex things, my little strainer deal, my mixer, and one little cup underneath there with the 2 little itty bitty tablespoon, teaspoon. That's what I got, aside from this one bowl right here. Okie doke. Let's get this bad boy out of here. Ooh, she's hot. And you literally pick it up and set it in. You're going to put the lid on. She's going to sit in here for 25 to 30 minutes. And then we're going to take the lid off and brown it up for another 5, maybe 10. Okay, let's see where we are. I've raised the temperature to 425 for the last bit here. Alright, so we're just getting our browning started, so we're going to put it in uncovered now for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. You got to watch it. So we'll be able to keep an eye on it. Okay. Our 5 minutes are up. Let's see how we did. Ooh. Ooh. Wow. Oh, looky there, huh? Well, that's a loaf of bread you can have with soups. You mean, it's not really a sandwich loaf. You can do sandwiches with it, but it's more of a tear it apart and enjoy it with stuff. It's fantastic with a garlic butter on it. You can slice it up, make your garlic bread out of that. Awesome for soups. I mean, great for spaghettis and stuff like that. It's just also just wonderful with a little jam on it. In the morning, slice yourself up a couple pieces of that, have it with your coffee, a little bit of apple butter maybe, or a jam, or just buttered. It's fantastic. Can't go wrong. Easiest thing in the world, guys. Remember, your 3 cups of flour is your starter. All right. You got your little bit of sugar, your 120 to 130 degree water with your yeast. Set that aside. It's 4 or 5 minutes. Dump that in with your flour and your teaspoon of salt. Give it a stir and then just adjust it now. Add a little flour, add a little more till you can actually fold it over and your hand's not stuck to it, okay? Put it back aside, let it sit on some parchment paper in your bowl while you preheat your oven. Well, let it sit in your parchment while you're letting it rise. All right? Then come back. After 3 hours, let it rise. All right, so you're doing whatever you got to do. You've only got about 6 minutes working it so far, and then you let it rise. Come back after that 3 hours, smack it down. All right, hit some more flour on it if you have to, in case it's a little sticky. Make sure you can fold it over 4 or 5 times. All right, put it back on some parchment paper. Let it sit there and rise while you preheat the oven. Make sure you have the Dutch oven in there, okay? Your loaf will be as round as the bottom of your Dutch oven, all right? When you're done with that, after having it on 400 for the 30 minutes, roughly about 30 minutes, take off the lid, let it brown the rest of the way. You have an artisan. Guys, they're charging $7, $8 for a loaf of bread like this. Cut a few little notches on the top before you bake it, and you get a really beautiful looking loaf. That's it. Easy, easy, easy as pie. I make this all the time. If you're paying for this bread, you're crazy. This probably cost, I might even have $1 in this. Less than $1. There you go. Alicia, you wanted to know how to do it? There it is, right there.